श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। अखण्डानन्दसम्बोधः वन्दनात् यस्य जायते गोविन्दं तमहं वन्दे चिदानन्दतनुं गुरुम्. So yesterday we were seeing the Salokya etc. different kinds of mukti. Each of these muktis, each of these positions of mukti is accepted to be very great accomplishment by the devotees. Very great accomplishment, each one of them. Even if you are going to go to the world of the devoted, it is a great accomplishment, isn't it? So for them, we say this is the 39th shloka, which is the final shloka in this set of Kova Viratim Nayati, Vichari Kova Viratim Nayati. Okay, so he says, Yatrasti loke gatitaradamyam Ucha vachatvan vitamatra kritat kritam Yacheha tadvat khalu dukkhamasti इत्यालोच्य को वा विरतिं नयाति इति आलोच्य को वा विरतिं नयाति. Inquiring into this, who in the right mind will not gain virakti, dispassion? That is the question. What is the thing to be inquired into? So he says, yatra asti yatha iha aspin loke yatra asti gatitaratamyam uchchavachatvam tadvat atra, like that. Okay, meaning like in this world, loka means local darshane, to see whatever is you see. World is something which you see, the object of your vision, object of your sense organ. That is what is called as loka. Okay, now the gati taratamyam, gati means the accomplished, the result. If there is a taratamyam, if there is a gradation in the gati, in the result, that is because of that uchchavachattam, that gradation, that superior and inferiorness, it is all because of the karmas you have performed. So we have to understand. See, gati taratamyam. We'll have to see gati taratamyam. See, in with respect to this, we have this statement in Vedanta, which we often refer to. Like yesterday, I taught you a statement, yat krutakam tat anityam. That's a simple logic. Similarly, today there is another logic. Adhikasya adhikam phalam. Adhikasya adhikam phalam. The more you do, the more you get. The more you do, the more you get result. The result is more. According to this, whether you do good activity or bad activity does not really matter. You gain equivalently more good result or bad result respectively. If you do good activity, more good activity, you will gain more good result. If you do more bad activity, you will gain more bad result. That is the logic. Okay. So based on this logic, you perform the karmas and others perform the karmas, and you go to the world. Luckily, you have the punya to enter the world of that devoted, that deity. Okay, now you are in that deity, you are only in the world of the deity, but you have not gained any other better result than that, like to be in close proximity, samipya, or the final one, sayujya, to be a part of his body. You have not gained that. So at least the part of the body that we cannot decipher, we cannot distinguish. Okay, he is a part of the body. You don't see, oh, where is our friend? You can't see like that, right? So at least the other layers you can somehow guess. Okay, so you have samipya, someone very close to that deity. Then if you see him close to that deity, how come he went there? He's so close to that. So that is not a thing for joy. Even in the in the normal circumstance, like you are working somewhere, you have a higher up, you have a lower person also. You are always thinking about how to reach that higher position. Like you are thinking about the higher position, the lower one behind you, he will also think how to reach you. This is common thing. Oh, this we know. We don't need to learn it through Vedanta. Yes. You know, don't need to learn through Vedanta. But let us suppose if the lower one he gets a super promotion and he becomes your higher one. The one who is lower gets super promoted and he becomes superior to you. Is it a thing of joy? No, even if someone else of the same cadre is going to be promoted, it is not a thing of joy. But this is a very big sorrow thing of sorrow, right? So he says, Gati Taratamyam, this kind of gradation, even there, if you spend money, you buy a pen. So somebody gets a good pen, costly pen. Oh, that's a better pen. Oh, that's not better pen just because it's costly. Sometimes somebody would have bought, oh, you bought for that many? I bought it for this, lesser than that. This is very good, better than that actually. So now you will be hurt. Even though you got a very good object, you are not going to be happy with it because there is a comparison, right? So he says, Taratamya. Taratamya means gradation. Gradation means there is always comparison there. Comparison means sorrow without doubt. That is why he says, Uchavachatam, Itaratra Anvitam, Tat Atra Tatkritam. So, Uchavachatam, wherever there is gradation, see, when there is gradation, there is always going to be this pain. We cannot escape this. I gave you two simple logics, but since we have come through a different Ananda Mimamsa, okay, we'll see something with reference to that Ananda Mimamsa also. See, Ananda Mimamsa, who is the one who can have the highest amount of good experience in this world? We saw it began with the emperor, a king who is not worried about anything else, who is loved by, who is respected by his people and his servants. Now, that kind of person, if we have that kind of person here. Who is that? Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra. Okay, what happened to Vishwamitra? He was a very great, successful king, emperor at that actually. So what happened? He went to a forest for hunting, and there he saw this rishi. He's living in a hut, but he has only one portion, which is a cow. It's called Kamadhenu, wish fulfilling cow at that place. Okay, and this king who had everything at his disposal, this king Vishwamitra, he wanted that cow. And the rishi said, no, nothing doing. This fellow, whatever army he brought, he started fight with that. And that rishi simply folded his hands in front of that Kamadhenu and asked, okay, please protect yourself. Kamadhenu is a wish fulfilling cow. So it created an army of people and bound all these fellows. Vishwamitra's ego was so hurt. He was elderly person, but still his ego was so hurt. He gave up his position. He went into the forest and started doing tapasya, leaving all the enjoyments behind just for the sake of this small cow. Later, he went on to become a great rishi, Brahma Rishi at that. Actually, he is not a Brahmin, so he cannot be qualified to be a Brahma Rishi. But he was respected with that name of Brahma Rishi. So that kind of a person he became, and he was the one who was the seer of the mantra Gayatri. Right? So the problem is wherever there is gradation, even let it be the highest, the supreme emperor who is enjoying all the benefits of the world, all the goodies of the world, but still he'll also be in suffering because there is a gradation. Right? So he says, Uchavachatam Anvitam Atra Tatkritam Yacheha Tatpadu. See, you don't have to say, oh, you say there is Sayujya Salokya. I don't know there is Sayujya Salokya. Oh, you say there is gradation in the heavens. I don't know. Because, why you don't know? Because these Shrutis say, you will quote me these Smritis. These Smritis say, Yacha Dukkena Sambhinnam Nachakrastamanantram. That which is not afflicted by the sorrow, now or later, that is what is Swapadaspadam, that is what is called as Swarga. When that is Swarga, we are talking about the world of deities where there is no comparison, there is no, all that is very good to say here, but there is always going to be some comparison or other wherever. And wherever there is comparison, there is going to be pain. You cannot escape that. That is why he says, Dukkhamasti. So, like you see the sorrow because of gradation in this world, there also there will be the gradation. If you inquire into this, who will not gain the Virakti? Now he completes this discussion of Virakti. Fine. Now, from the beginning till now, what we saw is we discussed different possibilities. before birth, baby, young age, being adolescent, adult, then old age, before death, after death, everything we have seen. Still, but what you say is, yes, it's all right. But if you still are not clear about it, then this is for you. He is beginning this slokas for you. He says, ko nama loke purusho viveki vinashvare tuccha sukhe grihado kuryadratim nityam avekshamano mrutsaiva mohan mriyamana jantu ko nama loke purusha viveki vinashvare tuccha sukhe grihado kuryadratim nityam avekshamaano vrutsaiva mohan mriyate jantun. Ko nama loke viveki. Who is that viveki purusha? Who is that person who is qualified to be? Do you understand what he is calling you? You thought you have viveka and you said, okay, now viveka done, we'll gain the vairagya next. Now, even after, see, he said, what is vairagya? You understood, I don't have that vairagya. That is the qualification you need to have. You didn't have that. So he said, okay, let me instill in you that vairagya. He started showing every life stage, there is only sorrow. But still, because of our dullness of our thinking capacity, we were not able to see through it and we are not able to gain that vairagya. For that, say he says, who can be that person who can be qualified to be called as Viveki? You cannot even be qualified to be called as a Viveki, a person with discrimination. If you cannot see, even though you see, you cannot see the problems in these kind of different life stages. So that is why he says, who can be qualified to be Konama Loke Konama Veki Purusha. In the world, who can be qualified to be called as Viveki? Why? Vinashvare tuccha suke grihado ratim kuryat. Vrta eva ratim kuryat. If a person is going to be involved in the vinashvara, vinashvara means that which is going to be destroyed later at one point of other time. It has always the potentiality. Vinashvara means that which has always the potentiality to undergo destruction. Always it has. Either it is next second or some years later, it is going to be destroyed somehow or other. When that kind of thing you see, that is what he is referring to as tuccha sukha. The sukha which you experience through the vinashvare grihado, through the destructible, that which can undergo destruction now or later, that kind of house, etc. The bliss which you experience, the happiness which you experience is a tuccha. In Bhajagovindam, Bhagavan Bhashyakara in the second shloka itself says, Nari dhana jana yavvana garvam tarati nimeshat kala sarvam. Kala, the time, destroys everything in a moment, in a second. Everything goes. You saw when tsunami happened, people who were rich, they lost everything. They lost their near and dear ones and they lost their properties, whatever they have. And when earthquake shatters the things, it not only shatters the house, it shatters the whole life. Whatever they owned as their own, their possession is gone. Overnight, they become beggars. And some war, something tears a country, they become no one. They seek asylum in another country. They can't even stay in their own country. That kind of situation, we see it everywhere. So even after seeing, if you can't inquire into this kind of thing, tuccha, he is using that way, tuccha sukha. The sukha, the happiness. No. How can you call the happiness? Very bad happiness. Tuccha means, see, nitya, we saw nitya means eternal. Trikala abadhyatva, that is the definition. That which is not negatable in all the 3 periods of time. We saw tuccha also during that time. Tuccha means that which does not have existence in all the 3 periods is tuccha. Trikala asatvam, that which does not have the existence in all the 3 periods of time is called as tuccha. And I give an example also, like the castle in the sky, etc. That's an example. That it never exists, but we see and we have the transaction and all that. Tuccha sukha. Why he is calling it tuccha sukha? Sukha, tuccha sukha. Why? Lesha sukha, small happiness. No, tuccha sukha. Why? Let us say. See, while trying to work for that object, you have to toil, pain. While enjoying that object, you have to be careful that it is not lost very quickly. You experience and you lose it very quickly. You should be very careful about it, and you should be careful also to protect it from the enemies. And later, after destruction, after experience, it is over. Now you have lost it completely. So before you have to work, while you have to work, after you have to work, in all the three periods it's only pain. There is no happiness. To explain this, we have a beautiful story in the tradition. They say this fellow who is chased by a tiger, so afraid of tiger, he runs faster and he falls into a well. Okay, so while he is falling, he is able to scrap and catch hold of a straw, dry straw. Actually, the grass was very dry, so he could hold on to that straw. Okay, it is not even green grass; it was a straw, weaker than the green grass. Now below he sees the well is a very deep well, and there is crocodile. There is a crocodile inside. Up there is a tiger. Down there is a crocodile, and this fellow is hanging in a straw which can break at any moment. During that time, from the corner of the eyesight, he can see a snake which is crawling towards him, poisonous snake at that. And with all this, he is surrounded by pain. With all this, one small drop of honey which comes from the honeycomb there, he is just putting his mouth, he's just putting his tongue out and licking it. One small drop. That is the kind of situation. We are surrounded by pain, but he experienced that pain, isn't it? Okay, but it is the end of him probably, because during the during the time of trying to lick that honey, his grip, or while enjoying his grip, he will lose probably, or while trying to stretch himself, he will break the grass, or when he's there is a moment. See, when you see a snake or something, any animal, it is the common thing actually. It's snake, it's especially. So the snake catchers do this. When you see the snake, even if it is crawling in between your legs, you should not move. You just have to stand still. If you move, it thinks you are trying to attack it and it bites you. That's when it bites you. It stings you. Now, this fellow, he's trying to put his tongue out, and that snake thinks, oh, this fellow is trying to hurt me. Over. So, any which way you are going to be, and that kind of sukha, you are calling it a sukha. How can something completely engulfed by dukkha can be called a sukha? It is as stupid as calling this earthly body. This body is made of earth, right? But what is the content of this body? Major content, water, more than 60%. If it is more than 50%, 51%, it is the major content. Now you have a lot of water in your body. What kind of body should you call it? Should you call it watery body or earthly body? You should call it watery body because water content is more. But still, you call it a earthly body. Similarly, in these experiences, in the beginning, while, after, everywhere there is only sorrow, but one small amount of happiness which you stupidly see because of your ignorance, that you make it as an important point. That's what is ignorance. So he says, Vinashpare tuchasiko gidhado, because why you call it ignorance again and again? I am not, this is not a word to censure you or something like that. This is the truth. Like, we have this Buddha. I'm giving an example because everyone knows. Otherwise, there is no need for any Buddha for us. We have enough examples ourselves. I'm just giving an example because everyone knows about Buddha. Buddha is going to be anointed as a king in a month or so. At that point of time, he wanted to go out and see. And he sees people suffering because of this disease, because of hunger, because of death. And he did not know what death is. He did not know what hunger is. Because whenever the time comes, he is fed. Compulsory. There is no option for him. And whenever someone misses from the sight, when he dies, they are not going to come and serve. So where is he? Oh, he has gone out for his village. He has gone out somewhere. They will give an example and explanation, sir, but never say he is dead. This fellow does not even know what is death. When he sees that death, that is the Viveka. Immediately he understands no more of this. So that is why he says, Vinashpare tuchya sukhe grihado, when these objects which you experience as happiness, in those things, if you kuryad ratin, if you are going to have involvement, attachment to it, rati is attachment here. In it is Nigrati is dispassion, this is attachment. So when you have nityam avekshmana, ratim kuryat, why, how do you have attachment to it? Not seeing, okay, it is temporarily, therefore no, not even that. Nityam avekshamana. He thinks that it is eternal. Having the idea that it is eternal, he is attached to those objects which are not just non-eternal, they are illusory, tuchha. So that kind of person, Mohan, Mriyamana Jantum, that kind of person is a person who is going to die. Mriyamana Jantum, that kind of living being will die because of his delusion. Moha means delusion. Delusion is not seeing the thing as it is. If it is, you are, whether you don't see the thing as it is, or you see something else other than that, that is what is delusion. And this fellow cannot even see the sorrow in front of him because of the gradations. There is sorrow because of the object itself is of the nature of sorrow. If he cannot see the sorrow in the object, that kind of fellow is only worth dying. He cannot gain the knowledge. He is a aviveki. He is not a viveka. Viveka shunya. He is going to say viveka shunya in the next shloka. He is completely devoid of discrimination. Viveka. Sukham kimasti. Next shloka. Sukham kimastyatra vicharyamane grihe piva yoshiti va padarthe maya tamondi krita chakshusho ye ta eva mushyanti viveka shunyaha. Viveka shunyaha. Viveka, discrimination, shunya, devoid of. One who is completely devoid of Viveka. He is calling you with a special name. Actually, instead of Viveka shunya, he should call you idiot. Okay? So, sukham va. Why? Because sukham kimasti. Atra sukham kimasti. Asmin loke, here, atra, here, in this world. What is called a sukha? Why? Iti vicharyamani. If you start inquiring, no. What are you saying? We have griha. Okay, grihe piva. Whether it is house. Yoshiti, women. Whether it is woman. Padartheva. Or any other object. Whichever object you see, as I said, beginning, in the middle, and at the end, they are only engulfed with sorrow. It is an object of sorrow. When you see, and later he is going to say, as I said earlier before the discussion of Vairagya, dispassion, I explained, when you are attached to even one simple sense organ, you are going to die. And we are talking about this fellow, this human being attached to all the 5 sense organs. And I told you, during the intercourse, all your 5 sense organs function. So, when you are attached to these 5 sense organs, what is the escape possibility for you? When a thing dies off with one single attachment, what is the possibility of you escaping that? That is why he says, Grihe piva yoshiti va padarthe, whether it be house or woman or whatever object, we already saw in the earlier, they are all tuchha, illusory. With that, if this fellow is going to be attached, then he says, why will he be attached? Because his eyes are completely blindfolded. He is completely blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Maya tamaha. Maya means ignorance. Tamaha, darkness. Andhikrita, he is blinded. Chakshusha, eyes. His eyes are blinded by the darkness of Maya. This is the important thing. Like if you go to Rishikesh, higher up in Rishikesh, there is one place called Vashtagufa. Earlier, they used to have a huge cave. Even now, you have a huge cave, but they have put the lighting, etc., in front and all that. So you will not be able to experience that. When I used to go, when in the beginning, it was in 90s and all, it was a very dark cave. But what happened is later they had this light and all installed outside. So if you go inside, you will not be able to experience. If you go to higher up, like in Badrinath, Kedarnath, etc., you use a torchlight. LED torchlights are so powerful. If you show it, you can see this star in the sky in the darkness. You can show light to the star or moon, even the moon. Oh, there that moon is. Moon, when it is completely dark, you don't see the moon, still you can use this LED, that kind of powerful LED. When you use that in this dark cave, completely you don't see that light. The light is completely absorbed by it. When you study black hole, you don't understand what black hole is. You will understand the effect of black hole in these kind of caves. The blackness completely blinds you. You don't even have to talk about that. Just simple. When you when it is a new moon day, okay, so you don't see anything. It's dark. You don't see, but there is light here and there. Therefore, you minimize your vision, people and all that, and you just see things. Try to see things. Now, if it is completely dark, there is no light anywhere, even a small speck of light. What happens? You are completely blindfolded and blinded by the darkness. You cannot see anything. So this fellow is also completely blinded by this ignorance. And because of this, he becomes deluded. Te eva muhyanti. Ye vivekandaha maya tamo andhikritaha. Blinded by the maya means blinded by, you don't have you are viveka shunya. Maya tamo andhikrita chakshusha ye te viveka shunya. That is how you have to understand. The in between, because they are fellows. Why they are viveka? Why are you calling him viveka shunya? He is devoid of any discrimination, because he is blinded by the darkness of maya. But what happens if the darkness of maya blinds him? Muhyanti. That is the key word. Muhyanti. They become deluded. Because they are deluded, they are blinded first, and they are deluded because of the blindness, and they start. You can see this in the darkness. You hold on to something, and you think, oh, it is a gourd. But in fact, what you have holding is probably a snake. It's not a gourd, right? So anything can happen like that. So that is what he says. Because of the blindness which he has gained through the maya, this fellow becomes blind, deluded, and therefore he starts seeing things as not as it is. He starts attaching himself to the house or inert objects. But simple logic, how can an inert object give you happiness? Like they say in today's world, the salt packet, salt with a maximum saltiness, sugar packet, sugar with maximum. What is salt with maximum salt and sugar with more sugar? More sweetness. Salt means it should be salty. Sugar means it should be sweet. What is more sweet and less sweet? Stupid idea. Do you understand? So now you are making some pudding, sweet pudding, let us say. Now you are making a sweet pudding in a vessel. That's an inert vessel. If the vessel knows how to taste, it will spit on you. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes it will spit on you. Now they say they have a ladle nowadays. They have created a ladle which, when you use it, it will say not just the temperature. It will also say the amount of salt or sweet or whatever it is. Now let us suppose it has that kind of power. That ladle has that kind of power. It understands, it discriminates, and it says, what will it say? 30% sugar. What is 30% sugar, or what is 30% salt? If I say I have 30% headache, what do you understand? There's no comparison here. When you say salt or sugar, that's based on experience. I don't eat salt. So when even a little amount of salt is more excessive, then I say, oh, this is too much salty. For a person who is always eating salt, that is not at all salty. So it is all gradation. When I say 30%, it is not at all logical, actually. Do you understand? So that is why he says, Chaksho Mushyanti. Now that kind of inert object, how can it give you happiness? Inertness cannot have any happiness inbuilt. You feel because of your delusion, it gives you happiness. The same object will give you sadness, etc. Okay, so that is why he is called as Viveka Shunya, person devoid of any discrimination. We will continue this. Om Purnamadav Purnavidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
आज मैं थोड़ा अलर्ट हूँ।